Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest in fighter power precision on a daily basis. Today, Thursday, August 12th. Again, August clipping right along. Schools are actually starting back up already here in Texas, so summer's closing into being to the end of it, not the heat, but at least the time off for the having the kiddos around the house. Today's topic is going to be Palantir. If you got up early or if you flipped on CNBC this morning, you'll see Palantir, which is one of the highest growth names out there, had a 49% increase or a 49% beat in revenue, which is impressive. Their earnings were spot on. They are profitable. They have 4 cents per share, I think, earnings. And they nailed that. But the revenue, of course, if you're bringing in 50% more than you were year over year, that's pretty amazing. So nice bump in the stock this morning. I have that as long-term hold. I do have concerns. I do not have a very big position of this myself. If all of us that got in on the IPO price of $10, it's sitting there at $24.50 right now. So you're up, 140% or so. So I don't know. I will probably keep a piece of it. I'm certainly not buying more here. If you believe the long-term story, then you can buy more here. But my issues are with the CEO compensation and dilution of the share count. So Alex Peck, Pecker Park. I'll look it up real quick while I'm talking here. But the Alex Karp, there we go. Dyslexia this morning. Alex took the third largest pay package in history not too long ago. I mean, just an unbelievable amount. And I'm not saying it's not worth it. But what I'm saying, when I look at an investment, I do look at CEO and / C-suite behavior. I think it's a cultural thing. And when you see the CEO pulling that much compensation through use of issuing new stock, all that does is dilute everybody's shares that are out there. It is 100% opposite of what Apple is doing or Alibaba is doing with these massive share buybacks, which again makes your shares incrementally worth more on a daily basis. So if the CEO is doing it, I have to imagine the C-suite's doing it, and upper management is doing it, and middle management is doing it. It just kind of sets the tone for a company that is more interested in padding their own pockets than it is, providing its service to the world. I don't know that. I can't prove that. I'm just saying, when you see a CEO pay package that large after the IPO, so you remember you've already leapt into billionaire land, and now you're keeping up that, if you will, potentially looks like greed. That's a red flag for me. So that's why I'm backing down. I'm not adding more. I probably won't sell it all, but because I'll have a piece, because I think it's a long-term great name. It's just I worry about CEO compensation. All right, dilution is our question today, so I'll explain that to you, why every time that Palantir does that, your shares are worth less. Again, not a fan. All right, our longs, though. Palantir certainly set up as a beautiful long this morning. Sonos, the home theater folks, also beat earnings. They're set up for long. And then Ride, kind of a late breaker here, is just met our criteria not too long ago into the 5 to 10% window with the volume. Expects its production. It had a late announcement about a EV pickup truck and beating the dates that they had originally put forth on this thing. So everybody's excited about that. As far as Fisker, can't really tell why it's selling off, but it's the best short of the day from the chart. That's for sure, but I can't find the headline. Then Coupang missed revenue. It was down. It's actually up right now. So we might check back on that chart to see if it's open. But if you want to go short, I think Fisker is your best bet. All right, let's go ahead. If you're catching us on replay, thanks for make sure you subscribe, hit the notifications bell. If you want to catch us live in the room, it's $25 a month, small price to pay to come inside to be able to ask me a question or go into the chat room and make a comment during the show. So come on in. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everybody. Here's our lineup card for today, Thursday, August 12th. Standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation, so you have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you heard in the morning show. You need to read the full disclaimer at OTOTandnow.com. All right, our objectives to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Today we're talking about growing our money, and that's Palantir, right? It was a no-brainer to pile into this at the IPO. Again, a little background on Palantir. You're talking data is the new oil is the thesis, which I love. They have kind of taken credit for the finding of bin Laden. Palantir for a long time, I wanted to say, going from memory here, I think it's 17 years, was a government-only contractor that is in the data management space. And having worked in a command center over there, running air power over, I think it was 23,000 square miles in the Middle East. Yeah, data, a lot of data flows in. You have to synthesize it. You have to group it. You have to put it into potential courses of action, and you have to filter all that information up to decision makers who now have decisionable intelligence at their fingertips to be able to make the decision that you need to go forward. So you see a lot, the entire process of coming into the combat ops floor was pretty amazing. It really was. But that's what these folks do with their software. Now, when they went IPO, now they're out doing this for civilian companies as well. I think it's going to be very lucrative. And again, as you've seen, 49% increase in revenue. Obviously, people are more than happy to pay for it. I worry about the expense side of that. If you have it's math, kids. If you bring 49% more money, but you don't make any more, guess how much you spent? 49% more. Hey, somebody gets the gold star out there. That's right. So they are spending a lot as well. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm in a growth phase for my business, so I'm spending more than I normally would spend. But I have to I'm choosing to for a very specific reason to accelerate that growth. So I see it. It's a little bit of a red flag, just something to kind of keep an eye on when you have a company trying to, grow that fast. We'll see. All right. Question of the day is dilution. We'll talk about that. Flow is long, short, open, short, long. That means we're going to go around the world and check the markets. We'll come back to the U.S. U.S. futures are pretty much flopping around flat. I think there is another inflation number out this morning. Yesterday's was good, but it kind of wore off through the day. Good, and meaning it was kind of less bad than expected. That kind of good. So I think we're going to get a big number today. And again, it could lead to a red market in the day. That's kind of what I foresee. All right, we'll do our short-term execution. We'll execute the open. And contingencies and academic resources are standard. All right, let's go and take a look and see where we are in the markets on the TD Ameritrade Think platform. 4 screens in front of you. This is our day trading setup. So we'll come back to this. If you have a 1-minute chart on a SPY, have PLTR and Sono set up for your longs, and again, FSR, Fisker set up for the short. I mean, that's a beautiful looking chart, but I just don't have the storyline for you. Put it in the chat if you find one by the time we get to it. All right, here's where we are, even though, yep, a little bit of a red candlestick there yesterday, barely, right? We're still basically bouncing off of new highs, waiting for the other shoe to drop. The COVID vaccine, Delta variant, Lambda variant, do we have boosters? All of that stuff is dominating mainstream media. So I think at some point that's going to weigh onto the market. It's not going to weigh necessarily on the economy, but it's going to weigh into negativity, consumer sentiment. We're going to see some selling. So now's not a bad time to lock in some profits, and especially in any of your high flyers, just by trimming a little bit. I'm not saying sell out, but it's okay to trim and okay to build up some cash here. So that's kind of what I foresee when you look at the 5-day chart. Nice stair step up, if you will, even though yesterday technically was a red candlestick from where we opened. All right, let's go take a look around the world real quick on CNBC.com, which is coming out to you now. All right, looking at bonds first, creeping up just a little bit, 1.36 on the 10-year. Let's see, oil, 70 or basically 69, not bad. Gold, silver, both selling off. In Europe, mixed. Asia, red across the board, but not much. Crypto space got hit last night, 4% or so, pretty much across the board. All right, so biggest analyst calls of the day. Most of these were upgrades. Those are some pretty strong names. out there. Micron got a downgrade because it has been on fire. So that's one reason to get a downgrade, is it can't continue to go up nearly as much as it has. Here's your Palantir headline of your revenue jumps 49% in the last quarter. Excuse me, that's a quarter over quarter number, not even year over year. So that's pretty amazing. So if you think of how this company does business, they do business through, thank you, Burner, for that note. I'll get to that in a second. This company does it through contracts, and with government, that takes a long time to put a contract into place. You got to bid it out, and there's a whole process. I've actually spoken on this process after I retired to kind of help a project management group understand it. But now you're dealing with civilian companies that can move a lot faster, right? The authority chain to be able to walk it up to the top and get it signed off is fairly quick. It can be as quick as the company chooses to be. So a lot of new contracts in place. Good news is now that's contract work. So again, upfront, and then that lays a strong course for going forward there. So now the question is, can they continue to drop as many new contracts? They're probably going what I would think is for the easy stuff first. Now, can they continue that will be the question. All right, Fisker shares are trading lower after the company reported 600 million green convertible notes offering. Okay. Again, that's really a fixed income offering. So they're borrowing 600 million is what that means. And a convertible means you can convert it to stock, which would be a dilution issue. So I don't know if that's really a good enough thesis to think that it's going to continue to sell off this morning. Pretty sketchy headline there. Okay. Back to the headlines. Herd immunity, mythical, blah, blah, blah. You can get that from mainstream media. You don't need it here. Paid, partially paid in crypto for Lionel Messi. If you care, a lot of people don't. Revenue in NEO. Let's look at the NEO chart real quick because I want to see. I got to back it up here. I'm on another screen. Sorry about that for you. No real jump on NEO in the day, but revenue surges 127%. I can't believe that's not going higher, but we'll take a look at that here in a second. Yeah, the whole world's going to buy now, pay later. Again, that's not the most fiscally responsible thing to do. So just monitor that thought process. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at Palantir as a stock this morning. Okay, it's jumping up. It's sitting there at 24.30 right now. So it closed at 22.35. So it's right just south of 25. So if you like the growth and you believe, and you don't really care about how the CEO takes his pay, this is a steal of an entry, right? So when you look back 9 months ago, it opens at 10, flatlines for about 3 weeks or so, while everybody goes, well, where's this at? Where's the hype, right? And then, whoa, crack, it goes from, in the next month, it goes from $10 all the way up to touches 30, right? So it's like, holy crap, you get something, a move like that, you have to consolidate, meaning basically there's a lot of shares trading hands. It's like, these are all buyers here. Then you have a lot of shares trading hands. So it consolidates at the 25 level. And then, oh, crack, goes up all the way to 40. And then it's like, okay, that's not really true. That's a 300% gain from your initial investment. So now it's kind of sold off. There was the pay. I don't know when the pay thing was announced, but I remember it was hit the stock pretty hard. And sells off down in here. Now it's been kind of a stair step up for like 2 months and then sold off again. So just looking at the chart, this is definitely looks to go higher. You have this is a pennant formation, if you want to get into me nerdy technicals, where you have the decreasing highs and increasing lows. It brings it to a situation in a pennant. And if you are a pennant trader, generally you put a collar around this thing because the only thing you know is the stock's not staying here. It's going a lot higher. When you break out of a pennant formation, they tend to really move. So obviously it's breaking out today on the news. So that would mean it's going to continue to break up. So I do like it for the long. All right, we have a few minutes left. Want to look down here. Plenty not to like down in here as far as some red numbers across the board. Nobody's betting against it though. So, all right, let's go ahead and give me a second and I will get set up for the open. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target play of the day. We have 4 screens in front of you on the TD Ameritrade to Think Pipes platform. S&P 500, basically flat. This is a 1-minute chart. Here's my favorite is Palantir this morning. I think it's higher. There's the opening bell. Looking for a 25-cent stop. I'd be thrilled if it dropped here. I just don't think it's going to. So it might be a pretty quick entry. So get ready for it. I like this action. So we got to wait for it to set the bottom of the day. We'll call it 25.15. So 25.40. Is my math right? Yep. No, 24.40. Math not right. 24.40 is your entry point to cover that down to 24.15. Make sure we have that up 8.5. So it's right in the wheelhouse. You got Sonos up 10.50. Got lots of volume. Waiting for 24.40 to go higher. Tempted to cheat down to 24.35, but going to stay disciplined. All right, we're not in it yet. Did not trigger. Zoom in a little bit here. So still in minute 1 of the day. Have NEO not driving higher here. I'm pretty surprised about that. I'll put that Fisker in again. So get ready for 24.40 in NEO. There it is. Excuse me, in Palantir. That was our entry point. Was 24.40, you're covering all the way down to 24.15, which is all the way down here, and you're taking it long. So there's our arrow to show you which direction to take it. So when you think 25-cent stop, the total move has to be 75 cents. So 24.40 goes to 24.65. We'll zoom out here and see if we can get that drawn in there. 24.65 would be our first R point. Where it basically is right now. Tack on 25, that'd be 24.90. Brain waking up that no, it's not 24.90. The 65 plus 25 is 24.90. Maybe the brain is awake. Would be our second R point, and then the exit point is going to be 25.15. So get ready for that. We'll get zoomed into right here. You can kind of see it. So our entry points down here, we're covered all the way down to 24.15. It's actually 15. It's drawn there at 17. So we're hanging out in the green right now. So what does that really mean? This has to hit about 12% to hit our exit point there up above. All right, Sono, what's going on here? There we go, we're out. Trading has been a bear lately. So all the way down, knocked out our 24.15. Kind of like it even more than long here, but can't take it because I took it so fast. If you haven't taken it yet, draw down here to 24.05, do the same math and ride it higher. All right, Sono sold off all the way down to 37.70, 35-cent stop. You really would just be getting into this now. It'd be barely in the green. Let's take a look at Fisker, go back to the 1-minute chart. No real entry in Fisker here. NEO wasn't moving. Well, yeah, it is. NEO is moving. It's moving straight down. So down 1% or so. All right. What are our other names? Coupang. Excuse me, get that typed in correctly. CPNG. Let's see. It was down 7% or so, up to 6% down. I still don't think it's not a bad entry. What was the storyline there? Missed on revenue, so some profit taking, but no interest in shorting that. And then we had another couple longs to take a look at. Ride was a long. It's Palantir, Sonos, and Ride on this projected EV truck, moving up the schedule. And that's up 12%. So let's see about the entry. No real entry though, because you'd have had to go down to 5.95. Well, I guess if you go with a 6-cent move, you would have had 6.01, 6.07, 6.13. If you played this super tight, you could have traded Ride and it would have met our model. But I would not trust it. All right. Again, if you like the market's selling off, so 5 straight minutes of going down here, that doesn't help any of these longs. It does kind of look like this bottoms in here in Palantir. We shall see. So anyhow, if you want to trade again, you could give that a shot, but I'm not going to. Moving on. All right, let's take a look at what's going on. Yeah, Palantir up 7, Clickstream 5, FireEye 3, Sea Unlimited, CRISPR's up 1%, GoDaddy up 1%. So some of your popular tech names up there. TQLBD selling off 28%. Don't know the storyline there. China names are down. KWeb down 2.7. Ouch. There's Neo down, Baba down. Where's our friend Didi? I'm sure it's in the red since the rest of these are there. It is 0.33 for Didi. Didi's kind of interesting. You know, you got to be up for the risk. You really do. So look at Didi down here at $8.80. I said it was a clear buy below 10. Well, yeah, it is. It's a much better buy at 8.80. So I don't know. You kind of have to. I don't think you can sit out of this name forever, is my opinion. Okay, so it did get down into sixes. What's that? 3 weeks ago. I don't know. It's not going to pull luck in. You're not going to get in at $1.12. But I do think this is a good entry point here. If you have this is one of these you'd want to scale into. So if you had 25 grand that you were going to say, okay, I eventually want a 25 grand position in Didi. Well, buy 5 grand here. Or say you bought 5 grand back here and you held it. Well, double it here, wait to see what happens, and then add 5 grand more later. So you're kind of easing into it and then that's much better than trying to predict the absolute bottom. You know, the odds of you being this guy are basically 0. So you don't want to wait for the absolute best entry. You just want to participate and scale into the name. All right, let's take a look at dilution, excuse me, real quick, and we'll close out for the day. All right, dilution. That is when, you know, a company issues new shares that result in a decrease in an existing shareholders' ownership percentage of the company. So very simple words, but a lot to peel back there, right? So you know, if you have, like my company, I have 100,000 shares. If people buy in 1,000 shares, that's 1%, right? Now, if I turn around and issue another 100,000 shares, that 1% now just became 0.5%. And that's called financial engineering or greed, complete BS, all those things. So when you're trusting a leadership team or a CEO, and you need to hear them say the words, we're not going to do that. No, we're issuing this many shares, and that's the way it's going to be. And what you buy, what you are buying is what you think you're buying. You're buying exactly that percentage into that number of shares. Anything past that is kind of BS, unless you're buying it back. Now you would stand to benefit from that as a shareholder. I.e., in my company, 100,000 shares, and I say, you know what? I'm actually going to change that to 90,000 shares and just retire 10,000 of those shares. Well, now your 1,000 shares is incrementally higher. You own 1.1-ish percent of the company. So that'd work in your favor. But it's still kind of like, why are we even doing this, right? It's like set the number of shares, go off and do it, and then make it make it so, right? And stick to it. So the real BS comes in is when, you know, if they announce like, hey, we're issuing another kabillion shares, that's one thing. You can at least do the math on that. But when the CEO gets a pay package and now all of a sudden you find out that inside of that pay package is a kabillion shares, that's not an announced dilution. I mean, they don't have to announce it, but you got to know where to look. A lot of times this stuff doesn't bubble up. You don't even know what's going on. And I do think that companies, honestly, that's maybe the negativity in me. And you know how positive I am as a person. The negativity in me means I think these people are trying to hide this. Not hide it. Not advertise it whatsoever, I guess is a better, so I'm not like accusing them of things other than they certainly are okay if it doesn't end up on the front page of the paper. And if you're doing stuff like that, you got to ask yourself what you're doing. That's my opinion. It's like, hey, put me on the front page of the paper, have fun. So anyhow, that's kind of what goes on with all of this stuff. It does affect your ratios. Changes the float, changes your earnings per share because there's more shares, right? Same earnings, more shares, less earnings per share. That's like high school math, right? So, all right, there's real world examples of it if you want. All right, thanks everybody for checking in. With that, I'm gonna let you go. We'll see you guys. Actually, we won't see you tomorrow. No briefing tomorrow morning, no briefing tomorrow morning, no briefing tomorrow morning. I will send that out right now as a reminder. I picked up 2 medical appointments. And the only time I can do them is tomorrow morning during the briefing, unfortunately. So, all right, with that, I'm gonna let you go and we will talk to you later.